Hello, welcome to Zennial Finance. I am a younger millennial, older Gen Z, and I post videos documenting my personal finance journey here on YouTube. In today's video, I will be doing my annual forecasting and budgeting for the year of 2023. This is something I did for 2022, and I will link that video in the description box down below if you're interested. To do this, I will be using the Paycheck Planning Workbook that I created and have been using for 3 years now, so this is kind of what you see on screen here. There are several different tabs and things that go into this, which we'll go over. This is available for purchase for $7, or you can get a more simplified manual version for $3 if you don't need your taxes or your net paycheck automatically calculated for you, which is really like the big thing with this, is that it will automatically calculate what your net paycheck is based on the inputs that you enter. Details will be in the description down below, again, if you're interested in any of that. This is not going to be a full demo on how to use this. I do have a video already for that, and that was using the 22 version, and this is the same spreadsheet of that. It's just updated with the formulas and the tax brackets and rates for 2023, so it's really the only difference. So if you're interested, again, I can link that in the description box down below, but this is just going to be actually how I personally use it with my real numbers and not a full demo of all of the features. So the purpose of the spreadsheet is that it allows me to pretty accurately predict what my net paycheck will look like after accounting for all my paycheck deductions and taxes, and this just lets me play around and lets me know what I can realistically afford to put towards all my budgeting categories. This is literally like when people ask, okay, how do you decide what you can realistically put towards, your eating out versus your investing and everything like that? Like, I'm going to try to attempt to show you my actual process that I go through to determine all of that. This is not my main budget. I do use YNAB, which is this tab right up here, to budget out my paychecks every time I get paid bi-weekly. But this Paycheck Planning Workbook does allow me to plan and update my plan accordingly as things change, whether that's my income, like if I get a raise, I can update that and see how that would impact my finances, or if any of my expenses change throughout the year, I can also either see that increase or decrease and determine what to do with that extra money or determine where to cut to afford this new expense. So I think that's a good enough intro, and I think it makes sense to just jump right in so you can actually see me use it. Everything else I think will fall into place once you see me actually go through everything. So I'm mainly going to be using the Enter Details tab here and the Budget Forecast tab here. There are again like other tabs to this, which I might touch on those later as well, but we're mainly going to be focused on this. So let's just start by determining what my net paycheck is going to be. So I am a single tax filer, so I'm going to keep that at single, and then I'm going to give a name to this kind of income source. I want to see what my paycheck looks like if I do 26% to 401k, and then here 27% of my net pay to 401k. So let's start there. My gross salary, or my annual salary, is $77,900. And just quickly, if you are paid hourly, I do have on this first tab here, the summary goals section, ways that you can enter in your hourly rate and account for overtime or shift differential and stuff like that, so you can get a sense of what your annual salary would be to then enter it in here. I get paid bi-weekly. I won't have any additional pay with besides my annual salary on my paychecks, either taxable or not. So then that calculates my gross paycheck. Next, I give you up to 3 options. You can put up to 3 options on each paycheck calculator for any pre-tax retirement deductions. I only have one account at my job, so it would be my pre-tax 401k. And so with this, we're going to enter 26%. And then here we'll enter 27. And then once I do that, it automatically calculates what that would be per month. And so this is just something, it's not automatic, but you can do this really simply. If you want to see what that would be for the entire year, you would just take the per paycheck amount times the number of times that you get paid. So I'm going to do this here as well on the 27% and take that number times 26. If I take 27% of my annual salary and times that by 26 paychecks, that would mean I would put $21,033 towards my 401k, and for 2023, the max is, I believe, $22,500. So I'm still off either way here. However, something to keep in mind is I will get a bonus probably mid-year, and then also a pay raise mid-year, so that would impact some things. So I think I'm going to start and assume that I can do $26,000, and then the difference, the $2,250 more that I would need to fully max out my 401k, I think I can make up with my bonus, and then adjusting again when I get my raise mid-year. I can readjust the numbers to figure out how much more I need to put towards the 401k to hit those goals. So we're just going to start with this 26, and again, we'll look at the budget forecast and see if I have a lot of extra money that I don't need to be assigned to any group to make everything work, then we can come back to this. But next, I have my yearly amount that I'm going to put towards my HSA, and again, you can change the names of these deductions over here, so you could do like test here, And then when you did that, that would now appear as an option for you. So if you had something besides like an HSA and FSA or whatever, you could do that. So my yearly HSA is now, I believe, $3,350. I think the max for 2023, and again, I don't have all of these numbers exact off the top of my head, is like $2,650, but my company puts in $500 a month towards it. I do know that my my HSA per paycheck is supposed to be $128.85, so I think I need to do $3,350. And then I don't have any other like FSAs or anything that I'm going to be contributing to, so I'll just do that over here as well. So my medical insurance premium is $68.77, so we'll enter that there. And then it's going to be $6 here as well. So I already did this on this first paycheck calculator. I updated this to be 26. It defaults to 1, and you can even see you must keep it at 1. Even if you don't pay for any HSA or FSA medical premiums, for the rest of the formulas to work, just leave everything else blank if you don't use it at all and just keep this at 1. But in my case, all of my paychecks per year get my medical insurance taken out. So that's what that would be. I'm not going to do any Roth retirement deductions. I don't think I'm going to be contributing to my Roth 401k, and I don't have access to an after-tax 401k. So we're going to keep that there. And then I don't have any post-tax deductions or any other pre-tax deductions as well. For my state and local income tax, I live in Florida, which is a no income tax state. So it doesn't really matter. It's just going to be 0%. If you live in a state with state or local income tax, there's a couple of options that you have here for how you want to calculate that, since that is much more dependent on 50 different states, 50 different ways that they do their taxes. You can still use this if you do have state income tax. It's just there's several different ways, and again, in that demo video it goes over all the ways that you can handle that and calculate that. And then this is just the federal W-4 entry box, so you would pretty much match whatever you're doing on your W-4 and enter those details here as well. But in this case, my W-4 is going to remain blank. I'm not going to have any additional withholdings added, and the rest of it it doesn't apply to me, so it's all blank. So then you can see here that my net paycheck, this is a guesstimate, would be $1,630.67 if I did 26% to my 401k, and $1,604.30 if I did 27% to my 401k. There's details here about if you are a super high income earner, what would your paycheck look like before you hit your Social Security max, and then if you hit your Medicare surcharge, because that's an additional tax rate, this would account for that. So if I did this really quickly, let me just try to increase this to $350,000. You can see the difference of what your paychecks would look like if you hit your Social Security max, which would happen on the 14th paycheck, and if you hit your Medicare surcharge on the 17th paycheck, this would be your new paycheck amount. So that's just something I wanted to briefly talk about, but I'll send that back to $7,900. So I'll be getting $1,630, and then here's just a summary of what that looks like. So my gross pay is almost $3,000 bi-weekly, pre-tax deductions. This is my 401k and my HSA and all my health insurance stuff, $982. Total taxes is $382. That gets me to that. There are 6 of these paycheck calculators, and then you also have 4 where you could enter it all manually. Again, that's going to be explained more in the demo. So now we're going to go to my budget forecast, and you can see it's columns for every single month, multiple columns for every single month. So the first thing you do is you select the income type that you entered right here to update income name / type. So let's see what this looks like if I do 26% to my 401k, and then I get paid mainly bi-weekly. So for most of the month, it's going to be 2 paychecks a year. And then here, in February, just to see the difference, we're going to do that. You can see once I select those income types that it automatically updates. And then if I wanted to see, okay, what would be my pre-tax 401k amount for those paychecks, and then my HSA per paycheck, and then I even have an option down here for my total taxes per paycheck, and as I select that, it enters. So you can see here this is pulling 0, so let's just make sure that I entered in my HSA details. Oh, I have to select HSA so it knows, yep, that's where it should be. Okay, perfect. And then you can do a little bit of manipulation with it. So you can see I'm estimating my net paycheck will be $1,630.67. If you wanted to provide an actual manual amount, this is where you could kind of override it. So if I know that this paycheck calculator is off for me by 20 cents, I could get even more specific and do $1,630.47, at which point the net paycheck disappears, so you're focusing on this line, and then this left to budget also updates based on what you enter in line 11, but I'm going to just go with the 1630.67. So now that I have entered my paycheck details and I have a sense of what my net paycheck will look like at these two different rates, I'm going to come down here and update my category expense names and what I expect my monthly budget to look like for them. So there are up to 50 category line items that you can have in your paycheck. So if you have more than 50 line items, I suggest grouping as much of them as you can in, you know, a single line item. I will pause this, and when we come back, all of my expense names and what I'm estimating or hoping to be able to put towards them will be entered in these first two columns. Okay, so we're back. All of that has been entered, and you can see I came all the way down to line 54. So I still have about 8 categories left if I need to use them. I don't right now, so I'm just going to highlight them and hide. Now you're going to get this little pop-up screen here just because there are some formulas in the gray section, so it's just warning you. As long as you're hiding and unhiding categories, it's completely fine to edit this. Now you can see that once I've entered everything in the total down here, it just sums up what you entered for your goal amount for the monthly budget. Right now, I know my goal is $32.12 a month, so I need to have at least that pay every month to make it work. And so now we kind of figure out what paychecks are going to be used to cover what expenses and how much money would I have left over between my net paycheck, with my net income per month, my projected net income per month, and my projected minimum expenses per month. And so with that, you just enter in the details in this kind of gray field right here. So let's just say I want to cover my bills to my mom with the first paycheck of the month. Then we'll do like net neutral. We'll just try to do all of this and see. And you can see as I'm entering this, the left to budget down here is decreasing with every entry. So that's how much I know I can put for each paycheck. So we'll say 85, 25, 50. Let's see if I could do my Roth IRA. So right now I'm over by $7.24. I would be able to cover all of these expenses with my paycheck. And I think the easiest thing here is just to zero out my annual subs. So I'm safe by 67 cents, and then cover that with this paycheck. The second one, $7.91, $150, $125, and $1,300. So that leaves me $47.76. And so I would have about $50 every month in extra leftover money. So this is where I could decide, like, what do I want to do with this extra money? I could make this decision later and update it then accordingly. So let's look at if we could do the same thing for February, but keeping in mind this would be the 27% 401k. So we're going to cover these. We know we can't cover that $791, so we'll do 75, 170, 75, 85, 25, 50. Let's just see, how much are we over by? We're over by $25.70. So again, I need to select some categories that I move this money from. So let's just take out the monthly subs. So now we'll do monthly subs and annual subs with the second paycheck of the year, and then cover these like savings items down here. Okay, but now I'm over by $13.61 here. And that is because the total here is 3208, and I know that the sum of all my goals is 3212. So I am under for the month by $4.31. So what this tells me is I need to either adjust my monthly budget goals, or I just can't put 27% of my paycheck towards my 401k if I am dead set on all of these expenses, like coming out exactly as they are. So there's a couple things that I could do here. Since I'm only off by less than $5, I think the easiest thing is to just adjust one of my goals by $5, which should be easy. So like, I'm wondering if I just get rid of my net neutral. So if I do that, then I could cover my annual subscriptions here. And I could do half of my monthly subscriptions. So I could do like 15 there. So I would need, what, 20 here? And so then I would have about $10 left over. However, again, I have to think, okay, is having an extra, only a guaranteed extra $10 a month as like my buffer enough for me? Do I want to have closer to that $50 a month? So this is just like exactly what I was saying, where this is where I decide if my goals and my actual like income can match everything. The other thing I could do, if I really wanted to put 27% of my 401k, is I just have to start cutting. Like I could cut another probably $5 or even $10 there. And so that gets me closer to $1,569. The other thing to keep in mind is if I had like any emergency expenses, I have a very big emergency fund already set up. I already have a lot of money saved in my sinking funds and my emergency fund. So I don't necessarily need a whole lot of money like extra each month, because I could probably make it work with just like other savings if I needed to. But okay, let's go back here again and let's just compare. So I'm looking at the difference here. Remember, the goal or the maximum amount is $22,500 minus what I currently am able to do. I think it's probably best if I do the 27%. You know what, before we make the decision, let's look at this. Income number 3 would be raise. It's hard to know what my raise would be. I feel like a very good performer. I always get very good feedback. I did get a very big raise last year in 2022 because I got a promotion with it. So I cannot at all assume what I would get last year. And then the year before that, I just got a 3% raise, but with inflation and everything, I'm hoping I could at least get a 4% raise. Let's just take my current annual salary times 4% plus my current annual salary. That would be $81,000. Let's just assume $81,100 because they would probably round up. So again, my pre-tax 401k, if I did 27% there, would be times, I would have this for probably 14 paychecks for the year. And so then let's do this for 12 paychecks. So if I look at that, the sum of that is $21,498. So that's only like an additional $400 from what it would just be with my normal paycheck, like with my current paycheck, which is not enough to make up the full $1,467. But I would also have a bonus. And so I'd probably get a bonus of at least $3,000 or $4,000. So if I put a bigger portion of my bonus towards my 401k, I could make that up. Okay, but I think this tells me that I don't think it's enough to do 26%, which means I think what I'm gonna have to do is go with the 27% to my 401k, which means my net paycheck would be $1,604. I'm going to get rid of my net neutral subscription. Let's also try to bring this down to 20 instead of 25. Then I would do, what did we say, 15 here and 20 there, or let's do 20 here and 15 there. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Again, this does not need to stay my exact plan for the entire rest of the year. I can update this as I need. So now that I have an idea of what my expenses, which paychecks are going to cover what expenses, now I decide which expenses I fund in advance. So I do use YNAB, and the whole point of YNAB is to be at least 1 month ahead with your finances. So the money that you make in the current month goes to funding future months' expenses. So you're never like living paycheck to paycheck. And this is the method that I use to help me get out of paycheck to paycheck. As you can see, I have this little code here, and you can change the code for yourself, but blue, if I highlight it in blue, that means it's going to funding that line item in the current month that I'm getting paid. And if it's highlighted in green, it means it's going to fund expenses for the next month. And then if it's in pink, that means it's like a future month. So it's not next month, but it might be 2 months out or 3 months out or whatever.
So my bills for mom, my monthly subscriptions, video subs, all of these, I'm already budgeted out at least 1 month. These would all be in, I think it's the screen? Yes.
And then these expenses are currently not fully funded yet. So these I'm gonna highlight in that blue for this month. So when I get my first paycheck of January 2023, most of it will be going towards the future, but I'm going to make sure that I fully fund my Roth IRA for the $550 I want to put towards my Roth IRA in January. I'm going to cover that with my first paycheck of January. So once I have this basic bones figured out, I'm just going to copy this, and then I can paste it on all of these future months. And then obviously I need to select the right paycheck for that. And then all the way over here, you can start to see the totals for the year. So now here I need to select the right paychecks so that my total gross income and everything like that starts to match. But remember, starting around July, this is when I would have my raise. So again, I think the first couple of paychecks in July, I'm going to assume my regular amount, but then let's assume a raise going forward. And again, this might not be perfect, so you don't want to count on this. But this is, again, the planning where I can see, okay, this is what could happen.
And then in December, I believe it's going to be my other free paycheck month. It will be in July and December.
So you can see right now I'm estimating I would have about $21,431 going to my pre-tax 401k. We know that the limit is that. So again, it's a difference of about $1,000, and I would get my bonus somewhere in July or August. So again, I don't know what my bonus would be. I'm not going to plan for that right now, but I could. I could go to my details over here. I would probably go to my manual one and just say bonus. I said I wasn't going to plan for it, but let's plan. Let's say that my gross bonus is $3,000, which would be kind of low, but whatever. My pre-tax 401k would take 3,000 times 27%, should be 810. And then, you know, this is a manual one, so you have to, it doesn't automatically do it for you. You would have to manually select or enter in your numbers. So let's just guess what my total taxes would be. So it would be 3,000, well, let's see, it would be that times 7.5 for my Social Security and Medicare tax, plus that minus that times, let's say, 22% for my federal. So my taxes would be somewhere around 706. And so my net paycheck would be 3,000 minus 8 minus 10 minus 706. So I'd have a net paycheck of around 1,483. So let's go to this July bonus. You can see it enters in what my pre-tax 401k amount would be, which would put me really, really close to maxing it out. If I'm off by $200 or $300, like, that's fine. I could max out my 401k, which is a goal of mine this year, the full $22,500, if I put 27% towards my 401k in the first half of the year, and I have to get pretty much at least a 4% raise and at least a $3,000 bonus. So this is pretty much just how it works. So this is the bare bones that I have, and so throughout the year I would just update this. Now I don't need all of these extra columns here, so I could just hide them. It's going to give me this heads up because some of the things that these are formulas attached to them, so it's just a heads up, because if you accidentally come in here and like manually type in a number and try to press enter, again, it's going to tell you, hold on, you might not be wanting to do that. So we're going to press cancel. But as long as you're, again, hiding and unhiding columns and rows, you are fine. Don't delete columns or rows because that will mess up formulas. You just want to hide them. So that should give you a good idea of how this works or what this works for me. Now, I will probably edit this and update it like a million times. My first paycheck of January doesn't come until like next week. So that's why I was kind of late on getting this all set up, because I do have time to figure out exactly, at least with my 401k, like all my other deductions, those are set in stone because that was with open enrollment. But right now I'm just really trying to decide how much I want to put towards my 401k, because I do have a goal to max it out for the year, but I also have lots of other savings goals. So it's just trying to balance all of them. Now, briefly, you also have a spending tab here. So this takes the sum of all of the month's net paychecks that you enter here and provides it here, this projected net income. So where this is forecasting how you're going to budget the money, which doesn't necessarily mean you're going to spend it. This spending plan tab is forecasting how you're actually going to spend the money. So some of these things you will probably spend them the month that you budget for them. Like I always going to send $550 to my mom, right? And I'm always, my monthly subscriptions, their monthly $35 is going to come out every month. But my annual subscriptions, I only have one annual subscription and it will come out in April. So I only would need to put the expense there. My living expenses, there might be more ebbs and flows. Maybe I know that, you know, gas is going to be more expensive in the summer or around holidays. Maybe I say, you know, I'm guesstimating gas is going to be $50 in June and July, all of that. Maybe I know or I plan not to spend any of my my medical. However, I have a doctor's appointment in May and I know my deductible for that will be $50, whatever it is. Or not my deductible, my copay. So this is where you can kind of start to plan out when you would actually spend your money. Again, it's not perfect and it's not supposed to be what you actually spent. This is your spending plan, which is different in my mind from a budget forecast. You can also enter a yearly spending goal, which I always have yearly spending goals. Last year in 2022, my total yearly spending goal was $17,000. I'm thinking my yearly spending goal is going to be around $17,000 again. I came under budget by just about $250 in 2022, but I don't think I'm going to be going on as many like international travel trips, but who knows, maybe, but we'll see. I think I can do $17,000. And again, I can change this as I need to. And maybe when I sit down and actually enter in all of my spending plan, because I'm not going to do that right now or on camera, because this video is already super long, that number would update and change. And then the other tab that I wanted to talk about is the summary goals tab. But this is just a great way to have a summary of all of your monthly average income, your rough monthly budget with your main categories, what your goal amount for all of those categories are, and then based on what you actually enter here, what the actual percentage of your net income per month that equates to, your investment goal, so how much you want to invest in total, and then also in all of your individual investment accounts. Same thing with the savings goal, which would in my case be more like cash savings and where you're going to keep that money. And then you can also have a debt payoff goal here. I will go over this as well in my own time, just because, again, will take a while. But yes, that is my 2023 Paycheck Planning Workbook. You will see this a lot if you subscribe to my channel and follow my budget with me's and all my videos, because I'm constantly on this budget forecast page, tweaking numbers as my expenses and things that I want to purchase change throughout the year. When I actually get my raise, I will come back to my paycheck calculators and update what the actual raise amount is. And again, that's going to impact the rest of the year and how much I think I can put towards all of my savings goals. So right now, this is just a forecast. It's not perfect, and it will definitely change. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Again, if you're interested in getting this for yourself, there are links in the description box down below. I hope you found it helpful or insightful just to see someone actually work through their numbers. And like I said, I did this for 2022 as well, so I'll leave that information below. As always, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy and that you have a good day.